Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, featuring Commissioner Christine King, where all voices are heard.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Kingdom Podcast. I'm your host, Chairwoman Christine King of the City of Miami, and here in the Kingdom, where all voices are heard, I am honored to introduce my guests today, Mr. Alben Duffie and Michael Swerdlow, who are leaps and bounds ahead of the rest in developing affordable housing. They have an affordable housing project located here in Overtown, which is a project that is solely for seniors on Section 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Seniors, some of which will be there on what they call project-based vouchers. It's not really Section 8. But
Okay.
it's affordable between 30 and 80% of AMI.
Great.
And if they have their own voucher,
We'll be happy to take it.
Yes.
So how many units are in this Block 45?
568.
568.
578.
578. That is amazing. In our market, this housing crisis that we are experiencing, you were able to move forward with this project during the pandemic, correct?
Yes.
And how was that?
Well, we got some help from the CRA. We got some help from the city. Not a huge amount of help, but the project is the building's a multi-use building. We have retail, we have office space, and we have apartments. And we were able to rent the retail during the pandemic. They were still working, and that helped us get our financing, and there it is. It's also 1,000 parking spaces in the building.
That's fantastic. I attended the topping off ceremony where we celebrated you finishing the last floor, correct?
Yep.
And we celebrated the workers. How many workers do you have on this project?
About 400 on a regular basis,
Okay.
like every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
It was quite a fantastic ceremony, too. I loved that you were celebrating the workers and the work that they were doing. I loved that. It was my first topping off ceremony. I'd never heard of a topping off ceremony, and you guys did it in big fashion. Now, you say that you're going to have retail. What are the retail vendors that you're bringing to the community?
The first retailer, which we're real proud of and happy we got, is Target stores.
Target. Target.
Target.
I love Target.
And it comes with a
CVS.
CVS in the store and a Starbucks in the store.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Now, will Target be hiring locally in the community?
Target's going to completely hire locally in the community. We've got that commitment from every retailer. The retailers are Target on the first floor, along with a couple of other small tenants, such as Citibank, who's taking a branch right on the corner of what would be 7th and 2nd.
Okay.
And then we have 4 floors of parking, and then above the parking, we have Aldi's, Ross, Burlington, and Five Below.
Wow. And Burlington.
Yeah.
That's great to bring that. You are really helping to transform Overtown into a live, work, play space for the community.
That was our intention. That's why we thought if we got someone like Target, we'd have a real project.
And you do. You absolutely do. And I understand that your project won a national award?
We're expecting one.
You're expecting one?
Yeah.
Okay, your son told me that you got it. But tell me about the award. What are they looking at?
For the best senior housing in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that would be because even though we experienced that pandemic and it was a little difficult to see the project to fruition, you didn't change the amenities that you had planned for the project prior to the pandemic.
We were originally planning to build market rate apartments there. We decided during the pandemic that we would make it affordable, all affordable. And we didn't change a thing. We kept the appliances, we kept the sizes, we kept the
Windows.
windows. We have floor-to-ceiling windows. This
Oh,
is
wow.
unlike any affordable housing that we're used to. It doesn't have those. You could never tell this was an affordable project, which we like about it. It's got a giant swimming pool and recreation deck. It's got all the amenities of a market-rate apartment.
That is fantastic because our seniors deserve to be spoiled. They deserve to live in quality, luxurious places, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And you're also giving back to the community because as a vendor, the Overtown CRA will have a space there so they could curate the space for a business or informational booth or something like that. You're going to have a walkway. I believe you've already named the walkway?
There's a 7th Street, as you know, is closed. It's called Sawyer's Walk now. It runs from 2nd to 3rd along where 7th Street would normally be. And it is now called Sawyer's Walk for Dr. Sawyer, who was, as you know, was one of the pioneers of Overtown.
Right.
We're rebuilding that into a brand-new park. And we're spending about $1 million. And I think it'll be a beautiful space. There are going to be a couple restaurants off that walkway, the bank that I just described, and we want to get some CRA-sponsored tenants in there.
Absolutely, and I want to see that happen.
We're already in the process of working with James McQueen, the director of the CRA, who has a woman-owned business, a smoothie shop.
Oh, okay.
We're working with them right now.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I'm so excited about this project. When will it come online? When will you start leasing up the space?
The space is virtually all leased.
Already?
Yeah.
For the apartments?
Yes, because there's a giant waiting list. Half that
see.
waiting list is being administered by the CRA,
Okay,
and the other half by the county.
okay.
So you've already got the tenants lined up. It's just a matter of coordinating with our property manager and getting them into the building.
That is fantastic. And I know that you've worked closely with the CRA, and I'm glad to hear that residents in Overtown will have an opportunity to live in this beautiful building.
We
First priority.
First priority.
Yeah.
Well, they do listen to me sometimes because that was a goal of mine.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, as the chairwoman of the CRA, they do listen to me just a little bit. So I'm really happy about that.
We've also got a major American corporation, worldwide corporation, that's a 120,000-foot tenant in the building.
Wow.
And, yeah, the fact that they decided to make their headquarters in Overtown was very impressive to me.
It's huge.
It took us a long time, but we got them. I can't go into their name because the documents are not quite signed. But
I am familiar.
everyone knows who it is.
And
anyway.
yes, I am familiar, and we're very excited about what they will bring to this community.
Yeah, I believe they're going to hire all future employees from the neighborhood, at least give a priority to training those employees and hiring them.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And you'll open when?
We expect to open the commercial spaces about 6 months from now, and we expect to have all the apartments rented and done within a year.
That's wonderful news. Now, how did you get into this business of developing? For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to maybe become a developer, because I think your partnership is fantastic. You and Al. How did you guys come together?
Al and I met 25 years ago or so, and we've stayed in touch and done things together. And Al was very enthusiastic about this project. It was complicated because it had been awarded to somebody else who didn't fulfill. It was actually twice awarded to different people who never fulfilled their obligations. But after the CRA terminated those agreements, they put out a new RFP, and Al said, if we really work hard, we'll get it. He was right.
Al? Why is that space so important? I'm trying to get you to talk about your ties to the community.
Well, I have long ties to
I
the
know.
community. I was born here.
I know.
I was a banker here for 10 years in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Capital Bank, which is now Regions Bank. I was a loan officer, vice president. And then I went to the county, and I was over minority participation for all construction contracts for Dade County. That led me to leave the county after I understood how development and things like that could help increase minority participation up and down, from doing partnership with the developers to doing the construction to doing a whole lot of other things. And I could influence that. That's why I reached out to Michael. He's one of the premier developers in Dade County, and he's done everything in the world. He's built the Dolphin Mall. He built Los Olas. He's built Oakwood Plaza. This is his sweet spot. So he's very familiar with how to do things of mixed-use construction.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he understands working in the neighborhood. I mean, besides this project, there's a couple of projects that's going to turn the city into another midtown.
I see. Very nice. Very nice.
We're going to need your cooperation.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I am always here to support good projects that make sense for the community.
That's all we want to do.
And that's fantastic. So if you could pick one thing, well, okay, we've been referring to the project as Block 55. Is it going to have a proper name soon?
Well, people started that is what the CRA called it for 20 years.
Right.
And so it just stuck. The retailers liked it.
So you're going to keep it Block 55?
Yeah, I think the apartments are called the apartments at Sawyer's Walk, but I'm not precisely sure.
Okay. I don't know.
But now, if you have something you would like it to be.
Listen, don't give me that, because I will give you a name, because I'm pretty good at that.
Block 55.
No.
Block 55.
Block 55. You have to have a more creative name than Block 55.
Well, the problem is the retailers like it. And I think we have some fancy name. I will find out exactly.
I'm sure your team has a fancy name for the whole development, the space of it. Okay. Now, if you had to pick one thing, what would you be most proud of for that project?
The fact that we were able to build the affordable apartments to exactly look like in every way and feel like full market rate apartments, so that people will be shocked at how well they're living. There was a meeting of about 100 people that have qualified to live there already. Those people lived in a building that the city had to tear down, or has to tear down, called the Harry Kane Towers.
Familiar with that.
And they were applauding throughout the meeting. Every time they asked a question and got an answer, there was a round of applause. So I felt pretty good about that.
And those are the projects that don't just make you money, but the projects that warm your heart. That we are going to change people's lives in this community with that project.
We're very happy about that.
I love that. Al, what's your...
I like the fact that we're building 1,400,000 square feet overall with all of this retail. We got 2 churches. We got BAM and St. John helping do workshops for the job fairs for all the different retail people that we're bringing in. And we have them also doing work to get Coastal, our construction contractor, to hire and use minority workers and minority firms. Gwen Spick and Span, she's doing all the cleaning.
That's great.
So-
That is great. You know, when you have these job fairs, these hiring fairs, let me know and I'll promote it on our platforms with the city and send it out so we can reach as many people as possible. Because there's so many people that need jobs and are willing to work. I mean, I'm so excited about Target.
I believe this project's got close to 1,000 jobs, permanent jobs.
Oh, that's
Not
fantastic.
garage valets, real jobs.
That is fantastic.
Their careers are possible.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And I love that the pharmacy is coming as well.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share about this project?
I don't think so. I just mentioned that every inch of the project is leased. It's 1,400,000 feet, as Al said, which is a very large building.
That is quite an accomplishment to have it leased before the space is even ready.
Every inch is leased.
That is amazing. That is
Well,
amazing.
it shows you that the need was there. Nobody wanted to recognize it. And there's still a great deal to do. We believe that our future lies in affordable and workforce housing.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to build. We have another 6,000 units that we're interested in doing. They're all in your district. We'll be talking to you about them.
I look forward to that. All in my district here in Overtown or in other areas of the district?
Other areas.
Other areas also.
Other areas. That's fantastic. Because I want to see affordable, market rate, responsible housing. This housing crisis is, I don't think we've ever experienced such a
it's
shortage of housing.
It's easier to fix if you have serious people and the government gets serious.
In my district, I follow my projects. I have bi-weekly meetings, monthly meetings, depending on where the project is in its stages of development. And I find that the city staff has been very responsive. Al, you're working on another project that's in Overtown. I think you can attest to that, correct?
Absolutely.
I don't play that about my district. These projects are important. They're important for our community, and we cannot waste any time. I don't have patience. So for me, all of the projects in my district get 100% of my attention. Do you want to talk about any of the projects that you have coming online, or is it too soon?
Well,
I think we're under the cone, and
in one case, we're under a cone of silence.
Okay, well, let's not say anything else about that.
And we are really planning 2 more significant projects in Overtown that we'll be in to see on in the next couple of months.
Well, let's get it done. Let's
They're
get
actually,
it
the
done.
buildings are designed. We just have to get working.
Okay. Now, we've reached a point in this podcast that I call the Spitfire Round. I'm going to ask you each 5 questions, and you just kind of tell me what comes to mind immediately. Okay? I'll start with you, Al. What is the most dangerous thing you do?
Work with Michael.
And Michael, what is the most dangerous thing you do?
You know, I don't know.
No?
I'm too old to worry about anything.
Well, okay. That's valid. That's valid. Do you have a theme song?
I do not.
You do not?
No.
Okay. Michael, do you have a theme song?
No,
No.
Mm-mm.
Do you have a favorite song?
not really.
Yeah.
I'm like a country music guy.
Country
I'm
music
some
is
sort
beautiful
of,
music.
I'm sort of a fully anomalous character.
Okay.
I come from New York, and I like country music. I don't know how that happened.
How about you? Do you have a favorite
I
song?
do not have a favorite
You
song.
don't?
No.
Okay. Well, how about, do you have a favorite book?
I do not have a favorite book.
What?
I have a favorite restaurant.
I'm going to get back to that. Okay. How about you? Do you have a favorite book?
Yeah, but it's going to be a highly pretentious answer.
Come and tell me.
There's one book that I've read 3 times in my life.
What is it?
It's called Ulysses by, my God.
It's Greek mythology.
No,
No?
not
Oh,
that
like
Ulysses.
Ulysses Grant?
Ulysses was written by James Joyce,
Okay.
and it's about, it's a very important book. It's about the happenings in the mind of a Dublin cab driver during a certain day called Bloom Day,
Okay.
and his travels through the city. The reason it's called Ulysses is because his journey is symbolic of the journey that Odysseus made in the other Ulysses.
Okay.
But leave this part out. That's a highly pretentious book.
No, because somebody would be, I would be interested in it, because the first thing I thought of when you said Ulysses was the Greek mythology.
Yep.
And then I thought, because you said you were from New York, Ulysses Grant, because he's buried.
In Grant's tomb.
That's right.
I've passed it many times. In fact, I went to college near Grant's tomb.
Okay.
At Columbia,
Okay.
which is in New York.
Right, because
Up
my
there.
dad lived in New York, and he's taken us through, he's a graduate of Columbia University. He received his PhD from Columbia University, so I'm familiar with that.
Really?
So those are the 3 things I went to quickly, like, okay. All right, so that's, I'm going to check that out.
My daughter had a problem, and she was real down. And I texted her a link to Kirk Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
He has a song called Smile. So that would be,
Smile.
yes.
That's a good song.
That's
That is a good song.
I like that song.
Okay, now, you mentioned you have a favorite restaurant. What is it?
Joe Stonecraft.
You know, I think that's my favorite restaurant too. Now, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you break bread with?
Living or dead. Besides my wife?
It could be your wife, if that's who
It
you would
be
choose
my
to have
wife,
dinner with.
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. And she's a lovely lady. I've met her.
Thank you.
Michael, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Maybe if we can put together Albert Einstein and Jesus Christ, it would be very enjoyable.
Wow, that would be an interesting dinner. Yes.
Well, you'd like to talk to Jesus just to find out what he really meant. There's a lot of people that it means. There's a lot of people in America today who really use his name in vain. You'd like to have the
Yes,
You'd like
I
to have
think
the
a lot
real
of us
story.
would like that. I think a lot, and Albert Einstein too. I hear he was quite the character.
Very smart man. Mm-hmm. What a thing to say.
Yes.
Einstein was smart.
Yes. Okay. Now, if you could give your 20-year-old self advice, what would it be?
Me?
20-year-old.
Oh, I don't know. I guess plan for the future. I never did. I lived probably till I was 50. I didn't know what I was doing the next week. I always did well financially because I have a knack for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really had any long-term plans.
Okay. Okay. Al?
But at 20, I mean, nobody's thinking about the future.
But that's why you're telling your what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Because our listeners and our viewers, we have some young people that are listening, and you guys are pillars in the community. So what do you wish you would have known at 20?
Well, if I knew what I know now,
Yes, yes.
I would tell my 20-year-old self to study more about real estate, about law, so that I would have done this earlier than I did now.
Okay. So see, that's good advice. Plan for the future and study more. Know some law. Study real estate. Real estate is actually the cornerstone or the foundation of most of the wealth in the United States. Most of the wealthy families in the United States earn their wealth through real estate, is what I read.
It's true because inflation made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you, the key thing about real estate is if you can keep it, it'll be more valuable 10 years from now.
Right.
Maybe 3 years from now, it'll be less valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 years from now, it'll be worth double or triple what it costs to build. And that is why Al and I will not sell anything anymore.
Me either. I'm holding on to my real estate.
Well,
Somebody gave me that advice almost 20 years ago. Somebody gave me that advice.
It's good advice. The problem is that to build large commercial real estate today, you sometimes need to find equity partners.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys generally, if you allow them to, will eat your lunch. And in order to get the returns that the equity wants, you need to sell quickly. Because it's a complicated thing called an internal rate of return that we don't want to talk about, or everyone who sees this will go to sleep. But if you can avoid that, and you can do it with your own equity, which is the way we have no institutional partners in Block 55. Just a few of us, 3 or 4 guys, and we will never sell this property.
And that's why you will see a lot of great opportunities starting to appear, because we have figured out how to make it work.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I'm so glad that you guys honored me with your presence on the Kingdom Podcast. I look forward to the ribbon cutting ceremony that you're going to have. I look forward to shopping in Target in Overtown. And this, guys, is a wrap. We have another episode of the Kingdom Podcast in the can. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything that you're doing with and for our community.